Hey y'all, happy Tuesday evening. I had to remember what day it was even. It's been a long damn week already. But we are going to talk about some interesting stuff going on in Texas. For those of you that live in Texas, what are you guys doing down there? But let's get going.
Who's a bad girl now? Who's a bad girl now? Who's a bad girl now? I'm such a bad, bad girl.
All right, y'all. I shut my camera off. I look as tired as I actually am. I am exhausted today. Hey T Revival, Britt Wooddrake, it's good to see you. Hey Marcy. Okay, y'all, we're gonna talk about this really quick. Last night I was scrolling through TikTok and came across a TikTok. Well, actually, Kyle found it first and then it popped up on my feed. And I am astonished that nobody has been talking about this. If anybody's in Texas, I would love to know if you knew about this, what your thoughts and feelings are about this, and we're just going to hop into it. So let me scroll over here. So for those of you that aren't really keeping up on the political stuff or political side of things, this is Senate Bill 763 that is in Texas. Hey, Lurker. Hey, Sheila. Sue. Good to see you guys. Sorry, y'all. I will be back on schedule hopefully next week. I keep saying that, but I haven't been in class all day today. I have class from 9 to 1 tomorrow. Yesterday was intakes with the girls. That exhausting, like extremely exhausting. Britt, I'll be interested to see if you know about this. Hey, Kathy P. So we're going to talk about this. So what this bill is, it was introduced to legislature in the state of Texas, and what they are attempting to do, this is directly from the bill. I can post all this too. They want to, okay, so I'm going to just read this part and then I'll break it down. So school chaplains, a school district or an open enrollment charter school may employ or accept as a volunteer a chaplain to provide support services and programs for students as assigned by the board of trustees of the district or the governing body of the school. Okay, first doesn't sound too bad, you know, thinking of chaplains volunteering in schools. All right. Okay. A chaplain employed or volunteering under this chapter is not required to be certified by the state board for educator certification. Okay, that's a little iffy. A school district or open enrollment charter school that employs or accepts as a volunteer a chaplain under this chapter shall ensure that the chaplain complies with the applicable requirements under subchapter C, chapter 22, before the chaplain begins employment or volunteering at the district or school. A school district or open enrollment charter school may not employ or accept as a volunteer a chaplain who has been convicted of or placed on deferred adjudication community supervision for an offense for which a defendant is required to register as a sex offender. Okay, I mean, that's, at least that's there, right? But it goes on. And if you want to read the entire thing, there's a lot here. So at first I was kind of like, okay, what do we got here? You know, are they just trying to put chaplains in place in schools alongside counselors? That was my initial thought. Okay, maybe that's not a bad deal, you know? People have all sorts of different beliefs. We see that in certain religious realms that they don't offer support with counseling, psychology, anything of that nature. They're against it. So maybe this would work, right? I was thinking alongside of it. Well, let me go on further. So it talks about, well, let's go to this. Let's go to this article. You can read the entire bill if you would like to. This has been on the docket since May. This has been being talked about, but I just came across it and I'm really disgusted by this. So unlicensed religious chaplains may counsel students in Texas public schools after lawmakers okay proposal. So they okayed it. So this is coming up for vote. So what it says is unlicensed religious chaplains. So let me make sure you guys can see what I'm reading. You can. Okay. Unlicensed religious chaplains would be allowed to work in Texas public schools under a bill passed by the Texas legislature on Wednesday. Senate Bill 763 was approved in an 84-60 vote in the Texas House one day after it passed the Texas Senate. It allows Texas school to use safety funds to pay for unlicensed chaplains to work in mental health roles. Volunteer chaplains will also be allowed in schools. The bill was delayed last week after Texas House members sought an amendment that would have required chaplains to have similar accreditation as chaplains who work in prisons or the U.S. military. That amendment was defeated during negotiations between both chambers on Friday. So they don't even want these chaplains who are going to be working with children to have the same requirements that somebody in a prison chaplain would have to have. Okay, that's that. I kind of got some further issues here, because if they don't even have to have the accreditation of the chaplains working with our military or in our prison system, they have to have less accreditation to work with children in crisis at our schools. Okay, let's go further though. We got more. Okay. Sorry, Kenzie just came in. Earlier this month, House Democrats also offered amendments to bar proselytizing, I'm going to butcher that, or attempts to convert students from one religion to another, to require chaplains to receive consent from the parents of the school children, and to make schools provide chaplains from any faith or denomination requested by students. All of those amendments failed. Representative Cole Hefner, who authored the House version of the bill, said in debates that local school boards will be allowed to set requirements for chaplains. So it's not going to be uniform. It's going to be whatever each district decides. I want to make sure that we're making it clear that everybody knows that schools may choose to do this or not, and that they can put whatever rules and regulations in place that they see fit, he said. As with other faith-driven legislature in this session, including a bill to require the 10 commandments in classrooms that failed to reach a crucial vote on Tuesday, conservative Christians argued that the religious chaplains could help prevent school shootings, drug use, suicide, and other societal ills by returning God to classrooms. All right, I'm going to let you guys debate that for a moment, because what I want to hear what you guys think about this so far. We still got a lot more to discuss, because that's not all of it. There is so much more here. Hold on, I'm gonna have to look up. Kenzie is needing my help for something. All right. What do you guys think so far? Oh, just wait. Hey, Darby. Hey, Rita. Whoever else I missed coming in. Kay, Lurker. It's good to see you guys. Yeah. This, I have major issues with this. Again, I am very open about my religious trauma. But the further we go in this, you're going to see why this is very problematic, in my opinion. And in legislative hearings, they assured lawmakers that chaplains were not interested in proselytizing, meaning trying to convert them to different denominations. Last week, however, the Texas Tribune reported that the head of the National School Chaplain Association, a key supporter of the chaplains bill, has led another group for decades that touted its ability to use school chaplains for evangelizing to kids. Bill opponents, including some religious groups and Christian Democrats, fear the legislation would be a Trojan horse for religious activities to recruit in schools and would exacerbate tensions at local school boards, which would have the final say on whether to allow chaplains in schools. This is not what a real chaplaincy program looks like, Joshua Houston of Texas Impact, an interfaith organization that advocates on behalf of some of the state's largest religious groups, said last week. We have chaplains as members. We have seminaries as members that train chaplains. They all have qualifications. In this bill, they are completely unqualified. It is akin to an online marriage. You can go get it ordained to marry somebody in a couple hours. That's what they're claiming here. It's akin to an online marriage ordination. I am so pissed right now about this whole thing. He said in the bill's training requirements, they don't even have to, you know how ordained ministers get those certificates to marry somebody? What? That's all these guys have to do that are going to help prevent school shootings? But it gets worse. Worse, opponents say that the bill could deepen the state's youth mental health crisis by providing students with unproven, lightly supervised, and non-scientific counseling that treats common childhood problems such as anxiety as sins or issues that can merely be prayed away. Spirituality, I can't talk tonight, is a predictor of well-being and resilience, and a chaplain can be a source of development of that in young people, said Dr. Lindsay Vera, a psychologist and assistant professor of psychiatry at UT Health San Antonio, who focuses on stress, trauma, and anxiety. But a chaplain is not trained in how the brain works or what helps it best. Someone with a religious background could push prayer or other strategies that increase shame. And if those don't work, the child is going to feel like their relationship with God is broken and that they're a broken and damaged person as the result. What are they going to do with the kids with special needs or extreme trauma? I wonder how that's going to work out, because so far in the bill, there's nothing that specifies that they can't work with any of those kids. The bill comes amid a broader push by conservative Christians to insert their religious beliefs into public life. This session, lawmakers have called church-state separation a false doctrine, a claim that has been echoed by the top GOP figures such as Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. And in hearings, influential Christian legal groups have testified in support of bills that they believe could lead to a restoration of faith in increasingly secular America. In a statement, Carissa Lopez, senior political director for the Progressive Texas Freedom Network, said the chaplains bill violates children's religious freedoms because it does not require chaplains to omit their religious beliefs, which she said they could impose on kids. And why am I struggling tonight?
Excoriated.
There you go. Lawmakers for passing the bill on 1-year anniversary of the deadly Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde. They passed this on the day, the 1-year anniversary of Uvalde. Think about that for a moment. So if there would have been chaplains in there, they would have had a better response from police. I find it egregious, especially on the 1-year anniversary of the Robb Elementary shooting in Uvalde, that lawmakers would pass a bill allowing chaplains to be compensated with funding meant to address school safety, Lopez said. Yet again, our elected officials have squandered their opportunity to pass meaningful legislation that would keep kids safe, like common sense gun reform or bills addressing the school counselor and teacher shortage. It continues to go on. There's more to this, but let's take a gander over here for a moment. I want to show you guys something else. And if anybody is in here is offended by me having a problem with this, sorry, I don't care, because this is a problem and they should never be. So this is what was shared on TikTok. This is James Tallarico. He is in the Texas government. Let's hear what he has to say during this hearing.
So to be a school counselor in Texas, you have to have a master's degree. Does your bill require chaplains to have a master's degree?
No.
To be a school counselor in Texas, you have to teach in a classroom for 2 years. Does your bill require a chaplain to teach in a classroom for 2 years?
No, sir.
Does your
Watch this shady mofo that's answering the questions. Watch how shifty he gets. Watch how uncomfortable he gets with simple questions. He is stating with his whole chest that these chaplains don't have to do anything that an educator would normally be required to do.
bill specify any qualifications for chaplains serving in our schools?
I don't think there's any specific qualifications.
Does your bill define what a chaplain is?
I believe it does. Does the bill? I'm looking at it. I mean, it's chaplains are defined in many areas of our government.
Representative Hefner, are you aware that there
In
are
other words, no, the bill does not define what a chaplain is. It doesn't have any credentials with it. And for those of you that don't know the difference between a chaplain and a priest, a chaplain is somebody that works for an institution, like a hospital, a prison, the military. They work for an institution. That is what the difference is with the chaplain. Schools, Christian schools, things of that nature.
internet services that will ordain a chaplain with just 40 hours of online training?
I'm not advised.
I offered an amendment to the original bill to require these school chaplains to respect.
Nobody's going to attack you in here for having a difference of opinion, first and foremost. But this type of shit is dangerous and will not prevent school shootings. This is utter ridiculousness that continues to put children at risk. What are we going to pray it away again? Thoughts and prayers are fixing all of the mass shootings.
The free exercise of religion, and you refuse to accept that amendment. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I offered an amendment to require parental consent before children can meet with a chaplain, and you refuse to accept that amendment. Is that correct?
I don't recall all the details of that day.
Okay.
It's been a few days.
So
late nights.
we've discussed the National School Chaplain Association. Do you remember that conversation?
I do not remember. I don't recall.
The National School Chaplain Association testified in favor of the bill, both in the House and the Senate. Have they helped you with this bill at all?
I don't recall. I had input from a lot of different people.
Are you aware that the stated purpose of this organization is to, quote, enhance God's presence by infiltrating the system?
I'm not advised.
Do you know Rocky Malloy? He's their CEO, testified in favor of the bill in the House and the Senate.
I've met Rocky.
Has he worked on this bill at all?
They provided some input.
So are you aware that Rocky Malloy has said chaplains are not professional counselors? Children don't need professional counseling. They just need to be heard.
I'm not familiar with that.
He said he has a phone app that gives instructions on how to pray with students who are suicidal.
All right. Right there before he answers. Right there. Yeah. Yep. This is horrifying. A child who is suicidal, experiencing suicidal ideation. We just saw one of the first parents be charged in one of the school shootings, rightfully so, in my opinion. I think it's going to set an interesting precedent of how things go, but they were extremely neglectful, in my opinion. We have a duty to help our children. And I'm sorry, but if a child is experiencing suicidal thoughts, they're going to need more than prayer. They can have prayer and their faith alongside of mental health help. People don't want to discuss how many people need mental health access, including children who are going through hormonal changes, the pressure around peers to fit in, all of the above. It takes somebody who knows what they're doing to work with children in this aspect. Sorry, but this is disturbing, and anybody should have a problem with this because they can have their faith. But to attempt to replace school counselors with a not licensed professional who's going to come in and pray with your kids and who knows what else. We'll talk about what some chaplains do on with their duty. I'm trying to find the statistics of how many chaplains have been accused of sexual abuse in the last 10 years, but that's a pretty staggering statistic. Let's finish this.
Do you believe that the answer to kids who are suicidal is for them to pray and not get professional
That has
mental health
nothing to do
counseling?
with this bill.
Rocky Malloy has stated he wants chaplains going in to teachers' classrooms and reviewing every single book available to students. Do you, as the bill author, want chaplains censoring or banning books
No.
in libraries or classrooms? No. Are you familiar that
Wait, hold on. What? This is cherry picking by the people in higher positions. I like your channel, but there is a simple list to start with: not baptize them. I'm not really sure what that comment was supposed to mean. Truthfully, not really following.
Rocky Malloy describes himself as a former drug smuggling pirate saved by divine intervention,
Oh,
I'm not aware.
and he's admitted to being convicted of international drug trafficking.
oh,
I'm not advised.
The gentleman's time has expired.
So to be a school counselor in Texas, you have to have a master's degree. Does your bill require chaplains to have a master's degree?
okay. So you kind of got the gist of how this is going, right? When asked questions about this bill, he can't really answer them. So let's go over here. Well, we explained what a chaplain is. I already did that. Let's take a look at something local to me about chaplains. And you just heard them state that they didn't even have to have credentials. There is nothing specific in this bill that wouldn't prevent somebody from getting an ordained minister license and becoming a chaplain online, just like they do to marry anybody. So now anybody can go get that. I mean, they do say in the bill that if you're a sex offender, but we know how that works, how many fall through the cracks. But let's look at some chaplains and see how many chaplains abuse their power. This was adults that were abused by a chaplain. Women accused by Cochise County Jail chaplain wants jurors to decide lawsuit against sheriff. 2 of the women sexually abused by Cochise County's one-time jail chaplain are appealing a court ruling which found Sheriff Mark Daniels and the county were not civilly liable for the chaplain forcing female inmates to engage in sex acts in his jail office. So here we have a chaplain who has been, this is Douglas Packer, who has been convicted of harming at least 2 inmates that he was a chaplain for this prison. 2 at least. Can you imagine being incarcerated and having a chaplain? Most of the abuse in prison isn't reported. They don't have any rights. How far off from a child would this be? Their voices aren't heard very often. But this is the ultimate form of control, in my opinion, you having somebody in prison. Douglas Packer is serving a 15-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to sexually abusing 6 young women at the jail from 2014 to 2019. He was arrested when 2 inmates reported their sexual abuse to jail staff in January of 2019, leading to evidence being seized from the chaplain's office and home. The 2 women filed a $2 million lawsuit against Cochise County and Daniels, in which they alleged the sheriff knew directly or indirectly through his staff about the chaplain's conduct prior to the arrest. Several current and former detention officers were deposed under oath as a part of the litigation. Judge Greg Sakehill of the Pima County Superior Court dismissed the lawsuit in January of this year. The judge ruled that the 2 plaintiffs failed to present direct evidence that anyone in the sheriff's office had prior knowledge of Packer's criminal activity. In March, the women took their case to the Arizona Court of Appeals, arguing that there is circumstantial evidence 1 or more members of the sheriff's staff had knowledge of Packer's propensity to engage in inappropriate relationships with female inmates. As a result, Sakehill should have allowed the case to move forward to a trial where the jury could weigh that evidence, their appeal argues. The litigation against Daniels and Cochise County is being defended by an attorney through the county's risk management carrier. The attorney filed an answer to the appeal last month, arguing Saykill got the law right and that no civil liability should attach to anyone but Packer for his felonious conduct. The women and their attorneys now have until December 13th to file. Anyways, so they didn't find the sheriff initially responsible or that they had any knowledge of this. But this chaplain was abusing female prison inmates, up to 6 of them. Up to 6 of them. 6 of them. A chaplain in a prison. Well, wait, that's not just one. I encourage you to go Google chaplains and sexual abuse allegations. Let's look at another. Here we go. From the Department of the DOJ, Office of Public Affairs. This is from August 31st, 2022. Federal prison chaplain sentenced for sexual assault and lying to federal agents. James Theodore Highhouse, 50, a former chaplain with the Federal Bureau of Prisons, was sentenced today in federal court in Northern District of California to 84 months in prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release for repeatedly sexually abusing an incarcerated female and then lying to federal agents about his misconduct. Deputy Attorney General Lisa O. Monaco, Department of Justice Inspector General Michael E. Horowitz, and Assistant Attorney General Christian Clark of the Justice Department Civil Rights Division, FBI Director Paul Abate, and Special Agent in Charge Sean Reagan of the FBI Sacramento Field Office made the announcement. Highhouse previously entered a guilty plea to 5 felonies on February 23rd, 2022. According to the court documents, Highhouse was employed by the Bureau of Prisons as a corrections worker and a chaplain starting in 2016 and was assigned to work in Federal Correctional Institute, Dublin, a federal prison that houses female inmates in Northern California. In his role as a prison chaplain, he led religious services and offered spiritual guidance to incarcerated women. He also taught religious-based classes that boundaries and self-worth, with the understanding that many of the women with whom he interacted came from a background of trauma, abuse, substance addiction. At times, Highhouse also performed a custodial role. That is, he could handcuff inmates, write up incident reports, and refer inmates for disciplinary action. In an imposing sentence, the judge considered the defendant's systemic abuse of the victim as well as the accounts of other women who the defendant subjected to sexual misconduct. The judge specifically noted the defendant's sustained predatory behavior against traumatized and defenseless women in prison. Within our correction system, chaplains are supposed to provide hope and spiritual guidance, said Deputy Attorney General Monaco. Instead, this chaplain abused his authority and betrayed the public trust. The Department of Justice will continue to prosecute cases of criminal misconduct by Bureau of Prison employees and hold accountable those who fail to protect those in their custody. I think you get the gist of where this is going. I think you're getting the understanding of the fact that, just wait for a minute, this is happening very often in our prisons. Chaplains are being accused and found guilty, not just accused, found guilty. Chaplains in the military, search for that. There is one article after another after another. In Texas, though, they want your children to be able to deal with trauma and suicidal ideation by talking to a chaplain who has no licensing, no credentials, doesn't even have to have what the teachers have, no master's degree, no nothing. That's a risk you guys want to take? That this would be okay? Tell me that this is okay. I'm sorry, if any of the schools approve this, my kids would be yanked out of those schools. This is dangerous. Just save it till I'm done, please. It'll save. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow then. Let me go back up and read your comments.
You come tomorrow night? Come on, baby.
Oh my God, any person in crisis should not be told what to think about anything. They should be listened to. I think politicians in general suck in sometimes credentials. You obviously, you said you've been raising kids for 50 years. I'm gonna go with the thought that you've probably never worked with somebody that's chemically imbalanced that needs medication, and a lot more than a faith-based organization who believes that you can pray it all away, or that you can cast the demons out of a person, or they should just repent for their sins because, they're a troubled child. I can see this exploding the troubled youth industry. Texas would be the biggest bargaining for that. This is freaking ridiculous. What are you guys talking about? The Church of Satan. Oh, somebody brought it up. Blue Ridge, right? Might as well. Might as well. This is what Texas is voting over, though. This is what they're even doing. This was done in May. This was initially passed, Marcy, on the 1-year anniversary of the Uvalde shootings. Yeah, Blue Ridge, that is true. But this is just absolute negligence. Look at how long it took for a response to get to Uvalde. And they want people like this are pushing people away from religious organizations. This is why I can't with all of this crap. This is just absolutely, there is nothing in me that says that this is okay. There is not one thing, and you can have your beliefs and believe in whatever higher power, or not have your beliefs or whatever, but I'll be damned if you tell me a child in a school, instead of going to a counselor's office, should go to a chaplain, who also, a lot of those chaplains have penitent privilege and don't have to report fucking abuse. Need I remind you that 33 states still protect penitent privilege? That's a huge, dangerous situation. And until that can be removed, where they have to report, they should be reporting. I don't even know. Thank God most of the pastors I know, there's not even a question to them. If they know that there's ongoing abuse or abuse, they report it. They would never, ever hide that shit. Thankfully, we have some good pastors out here. They're more few and far between anymore, but I don't know. This really bothers me. No, this is a whole bill on its own. Hold on. Let me show you again, Marcy. Let me show you again. This is, go Google Senate Bill 763, Texas Senate Bill 763. This is what they voted on. This is the entire bill. Providing behavioral health services, including services provided by the chaplain, establishing threat reporting systems, developing and implementing programs focused on restorative justice practices, culturally relevant instruction, and providing mental health support, including support provided by the chaplain, providing programs related to suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention. Maybe this hits me a little harder because I have children that deal with the realm of needing school therapists and counselors, people with the actual credentials to handle kids that should be talking to children. They want to continue to say that all of this stuff is being done to our kids, but then they go and introduce something like this. Meanwhile, you can go Google one article after another of what the chaplains have been doing with their power in prisons, military, and other places. Yep, SHOP, it absolutely is. Yes. Yep. And I so appreciate you, SHOP, for all of you, what you do. Hey, Cosmic. And you know what? That comes from somebody whose aunt and uncle own a private Christian academy. That would be me. That is a very successful Christian academy. And I think there needs to be more for the kids than people with a Bible. Maybe that's why I feel that, because it sure as hell didn't do anything for all the kids that graduated from there that still became addicts because all the trauma that they had, that they covered up their entire lives, you know? Those kids can't pray it away. This just seems like it would be flooding in for the troubled teen industry. I don't know. Hey, Perry. Oh, yeah, Cosmic. That whole situation in Texas. Now, when I say this, I don't mean to sound unfazed, but I'm not shocked that a shooting has happened at one of the mega churches. I'm actually shocked that hasn't been more horrifying. Now, I'm not saying that that's a good thing, bad thing. It's just, this is an increased thing that we've been seeing, and so many have so much religious trauma or trauma around religion on top of mental illness. And the situation is terrifying. I can't stand Joel Osteen, not one bit of me. And I have reason for it. And we can get into a whole dissertation on that sometime. But I still feel terrible for his congregation because they didn't deserve that. And it was right between services. So they had just ended their live stream and were about to stream their second session for the Spanish speakers. It's horrifying. Yeah. Yep. And shock. That's when they want to talk about human trafficking all the time. Like these big, huge celebrities and people like Tim Ballard make it their life's goal to save children, but they don't want to talk about the 33 states that still protect clergy members and have penitent privilege that they don't have to report abuse. And then they protect people in positions of power abusing children. When so many of the kids who are being abused, it's by somebody in authority that they look up to, like a church leader, a coach, a family member, a friend of the family, somebody in close proximity. That's usually more often than not, and that's truthful. Marcy, this is really interesting. It's Texas, though. Like, Texas is doing whatever Texas wants, obviously. I mean, they got Abbott down there, so I don't know. Hey, Just Debbie, how are you? Yeah, Britt, say that. That's exactly how I felt about this. My best friend can counsel, and the work she had to put in was hard to get that privilege. So replace. Thank you, Tattooed. You know, that's what my best friend of 30 years, she has her master's, and she works mostly with adults, mostly marriage and family stuff, but she does have the credentials to work with children. But this is just an utter, I don't even know. And then to have somebody that's they're going to get their certification off of some website, 40-hour class. He said, did you know you can get your chaplaincy certificate 40 hours online? Cosmic Empress, I honestly think Osteen's had too much cosmetic surgery. That's just his permanent look, to be honest. Like, Joel Osteen has had so much work done. He constantly has that sheepish grin. That's just his constant look. I also heard that there was some anti-Semitic stuff in her past ramblings and her ex-husband and some stuff. We'll talk about that. I'll do a whole thing on that. Oh, Sheila, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Whew. I am so sorry that you experienced that. This is just, you want to add them in there as an option for kids. Do that. But don't you dare go replacing counselors and actual people that should be working with our children to help our kids that are going through mental health struggles. That is such a terrible age as is. junior high, high school. There's so much pressure on these kids. Mental illness is genetic for a lot of them. Hormones changing. That's the prime time when a lot of this stuff comes out. We don't have enough mental health professionals right now as it is, let alone to replace them with chaplains who have no accreditation whatsoever. Yeah, if they want to do it as an option, cool, do that. Allow it in the Christian schools. They already have them. But don't go replacing them with actual counselors and trying to say that we're going to pray away the gun violence and the school shootings and all of this shit. That is such horseshit and makes me so mad. Yeah. Religion is for the gullible, and gullibility is a learned reinforced behavior. Rez, I can see why you would say that for sure. I think that, oh, we could go on and on forever if I really got into some of my beliefs, but it's such a thing. Like, I have such a hard time with big organized religions because at the core of so much of it, there's so much more harm than good. There is good in some of it. There's good in, some of these smaller churches, some of that stuff, but this type of shit. Ooh, that's a good question. Kenneth Copeland's had a whole hell of a lot too. He's the one that doesn't want to be in the demon tunnel on an airplane. His wife's had a lot too. Victoria, Joel Osteen's wife. Yeah, that's one of those things, Sheila, of people sometimes when they don't have any, the right thing to say, I will just say, I'm sorry, I don't have the words that adequately even encompass what I should be saying, or because you don't know what to say, but sometimes it's best not to say anything or tell somebody I'm struggling with what to say here. Anyways, I just wanted to highlight this because I'm so disgusted by this. And this, by the way, is on ballots. This is being voted about and nobody's really talking about it. I mean, some TikTok guys are, and they're trying to spread the word about what people are voting for. But this is one of those, on the ballot that people don't really know fully what they're encompassing. And I would love to see the little blurb to see what they say it is. But people in Texas need to be aware, because even the people that I know in Texas who are faith believers or strong in their faith wouldn't be okay with this. No, Sheila, you're good. You didn't change it at all. This is all I had to say about it. I was just rambling. This pissed me off, so I don't know. We have such a dire need in this country for mental health as is. So this just seems to be, I'm so sick of hearing, so sick of it. And I'm sure so many of you can say the same thing. Every school shooting, every mass shooting, when so many lives are lost, our thoughts and prayers, our thoughts and prayers. Your fucking thoughts and prayers aren't fucking fixing the issue anymore, people. What's it going to take? What are your thoughts and prayers doing? I just don't get it. I don't get it. And chaplains, please go Google chaplains and sexual abuse and look at the articles and look at the military. Anytime they are in a position of power over somebody, whether it be a child, an inmate, somebody in the military who basically is in boot camp constantly, look at how many times there's situations of abuse. They are shop. Yeah, Revival, that is true. And I hope more are aware what this is. I couldn't believe it. This is something that I was shocked to learn. Bye, Cosmic. Have a good night. Yeah, Stargazer, that's what I think is going to go on here too. Yep, Wooddrake, yep. And again, I don't have the perfect answer, but I know that thoughts and prayers aren't seeming to help fix the amount of mass shootings we continue to have. It doesn't. And it seems like every week we're talking about a new one. I think we all are becoming desensitized to it. And how could you ever become desensitized to a situation like this? Like, I think about the other countries that have different laws and stuff, and they got to look at us and think, my God, how can you guys not figure this out? It's just terrible. And people, oh, road rash. Yeah. And people in prisons are afraid to report abuse because these people usually have positions of power where they can get privileges taken away, their phone privileges, whatever, whatever little outside world that they do have. Same with the military. They can get all sorts of stuff to happen. In a school, same thing could happen. Are they going to be mandated to report abuse if a child reports that to them? Or are they going to be able to stick to the penitent privilege and not have to report abuse because they're acting as a chaplain in a religious capacity instead of a counselor? Do you see the hang up I have there? Yep. I'm glad to see that some of them are being charged finally and getting some hefty sentences. Like that guy that we talked about, that was more of an article detailing the sheriff's involvement. And I'm glad to see that the sheriff wasn't involved and they, couldn't prove that clearly. But to see that he got 15 years, 6 women, like, I don't know. Yeah, Stargazer, yeah. Smiles. I know you do. But that's not the same as a school shooting, or these mass shootings. That's what every political official always comes out, and they always try to use those situations for more political movement. In my experience, or watching what they do, they always try to use these humanitarian or mass tragedies as part of their political campaigns. And they all come out and say, like, our thoughts and prayers are with you all. I don't know. Anyways, this is the shit that keeps me up at night, if you want to know. And Vic, I saw you in here earlier. It's good to see you. This is just something this is the shit that keeps me up at night right here. Because I'll be damned. My girls have some needs. We all know that. I just can't even imagine them having the option of only going to a chaplain to talk to at school if they're having a bet. Like, I just can't even imagine. And they're totally allowed to have whatever faith they want. We explore everything. We talk about everything. We've gone to many different denominations of churches so they can explore and learn what they feel. Like, I'm not against having that as an option, but not as an only solution. That's just not okay. Oh, revival. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Texas has some different laws as it is. That's not acceptable. Arizona is the first state that I have been in that really kind of separates things for kids with special needs in public schools, which has been an interesting experience to learn through. But Stargazer, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys, I'm going to get off here. I'm not going to talk your ear off anymore. I'm tired, truthfully. I'm so tired. I'm being a baby. I told Revival today, I was like, I don't think I could handle going back to school and just sitting there and sitting in class. I fell asleep a couple times doing my classes today. I'm not good with online classes that are self-paced, that you just sit there. It's so boring. I'm like, I need somebody with inflection to talk to me. And so many of those pre-recorded videos are all monotone voices, and they're all, no inflection. I'm like, I need somebody to yell at me occasionally and wake me up. Absolutely, Kathy P. You know me. I'm on a tangent lately. I just found this to be very disturbing. There's just something about this that bothers me. I can't wait to hear what Helen has to say about this. I should have texted her. Shop, I'm doing my research for Article 9 AED, first aid, CPR, all of those. It's just, it's a lot. It's hours long, but it'll be good. I need to get them all redone. I need to get them all done. I got my certification for the one today. Kenzie's doing hers too. So it's funny because she's like, Mom, what does this mean? And I'm like, why are you asking me? I don't know. Sheila, yeah, she is. She's going to be fired up about this because I guarantee she probably doesn't even know about this Senate bill. I guarantee she doesn't. She'll be fired up. I'll text her about it. All right, y'all. I will see you guys. I probably won't see you tomorrow. Happy Valentine's Day, you guys. I did not get time. I did make goodies. Here, let me show you guys. I'll turn my camera on for a minute. I look like hell. And I look as bad as I'm freaking tired. I made my in-laws a little goodie basket. So it's chocolate covered strawberries, the little peanut butter blossoms. I made them heart-shaped caramels, and then chocolate covered pretzel sticks, and then little miniature pretzels that were dipped in chocolate. Took them a whole big box last night, and they were so excited. She kept texting me. I was like, thank you for all of our goodies. So the girls have their goodies. Kyle brought them. I know. I've almost forgot to. Kyle brought them home. Each of these, I should show them actually. They're a vase, and they're one singular rose deep down inside the vase. It's the coolest thing. I don't know where he found them, but he got the girls both one of those, and then he bought Kenzie this. It's really cute. It's got 4 individual roses stuffed into this. It's really an interesting vase. And then he brought me home a dozen roses tonight. So I feel a little spoiled. I have to get all of his goodies out for tomorrow. It's all chocolate. He was telling his mom last night, he was like, she won't even let me eat the pretty chocolates. I get all the other stuff. Road rash any day. That's great. I need that. I need somebody with some inflection to keep me on my toes. No, the AED stuff, that is so cool though. From the last time I took those classes to now, there's so much that has changed, and the AED devices being so much more readily available. When I first took them, they were barely rolled out. So now to see how many places actually have the AEDs is really cool. Oh, Shop, he spoils his girls every Valentine's. Oh, and the other thing I was going to tell you guys too, this is the other thing that's been going on at my house, construction. They fixed the pool light. I don't know if you guys remember last summer when we got here, the big light in the pool was burnt out and it had water in it. So they drained all of the pool over the last 3 days. They drained it all. And now they fixed all of the things on the inside and put a new light in. Hey, Megs, and love you. And they, they're filling it back up. Our water's been on since 10 o'clock this morning, and it's not even like a quarter of the way full yet. It's going to be a wonderful water bill. Wonderful water bill. Anyways. All right, y'all. I'll be back on it probably closer to the end of the week. I have class from 9 to 1 tomorrow, and then I will be probably exhausted. So I might come live tomorrow in the afternoon, but coming into the end of the month, oh shit. I have a lot of appointments at the end of the month with the girls. We got them new med management doctors, psychiatrists, which is going to be great. And then new therapists. So they're going to start weekly therapy. Alana has been in therapy, but we found an organization that does it all. So there's so much going on right now. My world's like upside down. Oh, that's crappy, Marcy. I'm glad you're going to work, but hopefully you don't get sick. No, Kathy P, I guess not. That's what I was wondering too, because I saw that on some news channel or something, how Florida does that. No, on one of the remodeling shows, I think that we were watching, that they bring in water trucks to fill the pools in Florida. Here, they just do it out of the hose. It's so weird. I don't even know if that's an option for them to bring a water truck in here. I don't know. We don't have to pay for it. The owner is paying for it, which is really cool, but Anyways, that's that. All right, y'all. I am off. I think I gave you guys an update on everything crazy going on. I don't know when I'll be back to like normal content and a schedule, but eventually, hopefully very soon, because we got to start Amethyst story. That's been on the back burner because life's just been crazy, but we got to do Amethyst story, and we have so much to talk about that's going to be going on. So hopefully March, I will have like a set schedule of times and dates. Like you guys will be able to expect, oh, it's Monday at 3:00 in the afternoon. Becky will be there. Like that will hopefully be something we can do and work towards. I'm hoping to find a schedule. Yes, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. It was easier to use your hose versus a water truck. Okay, that's good. Oh, really? They do it for free there? Crazy. I don't know. This is what they just opted to do. So it's just going. All right, y'all. Have a great night. See y'all later. Bye.